All right, blade bait-orama. Everybody heard about blade baits, right? If you want big forearms, you use blade baits. Because you're going to jig that thing until you don't want to jig it no more. Blade baits are the big thing this time of year. And they're kind of a different looking product. And they'll catch smallmouth bass too. They'll catch crappie, different sizes. But the walleye is a big thing on like the Columbia and stuff. All the way down through Portland, all the way down. Here's a blade bait. Northside Custom Tackle, Sportsman's Warehouse. He works there. One of the best blades you can get. Company that used to make a blade like this went out of business. Not all blades are created equal. I've got how many boxes in the boat, Randy? 4?
140. Oh,
just of these. Not just this one, about every brand made. These are the ones that work.
What's that again? What's that one?
Northside Tackle.
What?
Northside Tackle. Northside, Norsiada, something like that. Northside Tackle, Sportsman's Warehouse. What a blade bait has to have, because there's nothing here but a cutout of steel and a hunk of lead. When you rip this thing, it goes burp, and then it falls back down. Creates a lot of vibration. You use these for vertical jigging, and I use them for casting also. I hook some of my biggest fish casting them, as does John. The way you work it is to basically yo-yo the bait. That's why you're going to get big forearms and a big bicep. By springtime, you're going to be in the arm wrestling championship. You drop it down to the bottom. You rip it up 2.5 feet, drop it back down, rip it up, drop it down, rip it up, drop it down. Rod in one hand, donut in the other. Okay? You got to feed yourself. You're going to get tired. It's a constant rip, drop, rip, drop. They're coming to that vibration. The fun part about one of these, when they bite it, they go, that is not real. So you're going to hook a lot and you're going to lose a lot. It just happens. That big fish that Mick and I lost last year. They just can come off. Best rod, 6 to 6.5 foot. I prefer a bait caster. Medium heavy. Heavy enough so that when I rip up, it's not all absorbed with the rod, but yet I got enough backbone, but if they hit, it's limber enough that I don't rip it away from them. Some guys prefer, and I do it with mono, some guys prefer to do it on a spinning pole with braided line. I think part of the reason is the snag factor increases. As you're ripping it through the water, you're going to get some of these right in here. It's not your fault, it just happens. You do it enough, it just happens. They go cruising by looking at it and you go, rah! And it just doink, sticks them.
Pound test.
What's that?
Pound test.
Pound test on these, I like to run a 10 to a 12. You can run heavier if you want because it's a reaction strike. You're moving the bait away, you're going to rip up, and here's what you're going to do. You guys are going to go frip, and you're going to drop it. You're going to drop your rod down, and you're going to rip, and you're not going to get nothing. Anytime we're jigging, when we go through these jigs, you push the jig to the floor. I rip it up, and I bring it down tight. I control the drop. Because as it starts to drop, you're going to feel it tink or stop. And you better be ready to rip. If you come up and drop, and it goes slack, and they go bang, they go, that's not real, and they go, and then you just keep jigging away. You don't even know what happened. That's why some of the guys like to use the braided lines for the sensitivity. The thing I don't like about the braided lines, you tend to rip hooks. Because when they bite this, they come at it and they're trying to get rid of it fast because they realize it's not real. If you just get a little flesh on it and you got the braid, you go cranking down, you're going to rip hooks. If you use that softer, little softer rod and that mono where you got some give, you have a little more luck hooking them up. Now these guys come with different types of tapes. John's got different types of tapes here. And if you look, all you do is just take these, you got a left and a right, and you stick them on. So if we had Clear good water, this would be good, right? If we wanted to add a little flash to it, we could go with that guy. If we had muddy water or stained water, we could go here. Low light, right? Brass, just like a spinnerbait, just like a blade on a spinner harness, right? Same principle. If it was muddy or real low, there's that chartreuse again. Same principle, guys. Once you understand that basics of picking the right color, it's going to be real easy for you when you go out. You stick these guys on. You can take them, clear nail polish, steal some of hers. Hope you don't have any yourself. Steal some of hers and just stick the decal on, clean it up, a little alcohol or whatever. Stick the decal on, put a little fingernail polish over the top of it, seals it on there. You're good to go. Customize your own. Typically with these, out here in our neck of the woods, we run 5/8 to 3/4 ounce. You go back to Minnesota, they tell you you're nuts, you're running 1/4 ounces back there. We run bigger ones because our fish are bigger.
This wintertime?
This is wintertime. This is right now. You can go pull those, you can go jig these. Now remember how we talked about too much of one thing is sometimes not good? Too much vibration? Here's a blade bait too. See that? That one's encased in plastic. See how it's not quite as thin? See that? What's this one probably going to do less of? Vibrate, right? I went out and threw this all day, it didn't work. Well, did you try one a little more subtle? I did not. Just like the frog. This is what they're eating on. Make your transitions. Start out with the aggressive and then go down. Go to more finesse. It's called a river to sea glassy vibe.
Wouldn't that one be more fast? With less fluff?
This one's more shake. A lot more vibration when you rip it.
That one's more vibration?
Oh yeah, a lot more. Yeah, see how thin it is? Yep, a lot more. So this would be more finesse. It's changing up. You know, that'd be a muddy water or stained or low light. They have these in perch pattern. They have them in a clear pattern. You can still match it. What tends to happen, guys, when you go out? Here's what I want you to do. If you want to locate, if you don't believe that much in your electronics, which I hope you come to the point to believe heavily in them, because it's going to save you a lot of time and you're going to catch more fish, like we talked about the first one. But you take this guy out, you drop it down, you got a smile blade on, you got the floats on, you got a night crawler on, you got the smile blade turned out. I'm ticking along really slow. Boom, I hit a fish. This thing better be at your beckoning. As soon as you hit that fish, pop the release, throw it over the side, let it go down. Crank your fish in, hey, cool. Turn around, get over to your buoy, start jigging. You've used your spinner as your locator. When you find one fish right now, odds are you're going to find a few. You're going to find a few. What happens is guys will crank them in, cool, that was fun, and we'll just keep trolling. We only caught 2 fish today. Well, when you caught your first fish, you should have thrown this out and got over the top of them, started jigging. Work it. It's just a marker buoy.
Where you get that?
AXTackle.com. It's a great place to go. All funds go to feed the Seth Burrill Foundation of Fishing.
1995.
Exactly. But it's great, guys. There's a lot of different ones out there. I've got this style, which is new this year.
That's a nice one.
It is. It sits up high. You fellas that got glasses and gray hair, no. Not to pick on you.
How much line is on it?
I think it's 75 feet, I think. You can put as much as you want on there.
Crank them back.
Yeah, the cool thing about this thing is it's got upset. You throw it out, drop it down, you set it. The old ones in the waves, they just keep pulling out line. So this one you can put the stopper in, which stops it at that depth, which I'll usually pull out a couple feet extra once it hits, stop it, and then it'll stay there. Floats like this, so it's high in the water. The other ones are like sit like this, and they're kind of hollow in the center, and they bubble out on the side, or they're flat. And when it gets rough, they start unloading. This one, when you're done, you pull that guy out. This won't be in your way, but you pull your release out, and then you grab a hold of it, and you crank it in. Much easier. Okay. Berkeley paid me for
You
that.
gotta pick them up before it gets too dark.
What's that?
You gotta pick them up.
You got to pick them up before it gets too dark, or you got to take and glue surgical tubing on here and put a nightstick in it.
There you go.
Okay.
Ask me,
So when you troll through and you get one, throw your marker out. Get back over there. What I'll do, because I'm not a big spinner guy, I'll go around the electronics like we talked about. I'm looking for something down there. As soon as I see it, I throw it out, and then I'll get on top of it and fish it.
And that's for all fishing.
That's pretty much any time I'm fishing deeper water.
Are
Yep.
you, bladders on these same as trout?
Yeah, they show up a little bit better. They'll show up a little better. Yeah, you'll see like the perch. You may see a little more orange or yellow when you mark them. Big ones, you may see some green. Yep.
So you aren't normally pulling harnesses, you're normally using your electronics in the throw.
Yeah, I'm not a big harness guy. I'm just not by nature a troller, guys. I mean, I'll do it. I will do it, but it's going to be my last resort. It's my last resort. Now let's go to let's hang on. Let me get back to this really quick here. So I got ahead of myself. Okay, we're getting our spinners down with this style of weight here, correct? The other thing that we can do is we can do a three-way swivel rig. We got a swivel here, runs out a swivel here, and we got a swivel dropping down here. What I can do is run down a piece of mono here and put a cannonball weight, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, whatever I need to get down. And then this is called poor man's downrigger. Go to Priest Lake years ago when I was a kid in a 12-foot boat, and that's how we trolled. You run off the back, you clip in your spinner back here. Nice thing about this is that you can adjust this. You can go 4 or 5 feet off the bottom, 8 feet off the bottom, whatever you want. So it gives you a little more control over your depth you're running. Where this comes into play a lot, guys, will be more when we get to the stick baits. But you can pull the spinner harnesses from that. So you got the wire walkers, you got the poor man's downrigger, and then you got the Seth Burrill Scouting. All right. Now let's take it from steelhead. When we get the steelhead fishing, you'll see where this plays in again. In the summertime, you can still catch them on spinners if you want. If I know my thermocline is 25, 30 feet where I need to get down, I don't want to be on the bottom. I want to be suspended. Well, how do I pull a spinner through the water suspended? Well, you hook it on a downrigger, dipsy diver, or you can take wigglewort, full size. You can take a diver, one of these, Brad's diver, take the hooks off of it. You can take it and make it just a straight black, preferably flat back black. On my old beat up ones, paint them flat black. That's if you don't want to attract the fish to the plug, which would be like this right here. I don't want to attract the fish to this. If I'm doing this, I can use one of these in a fire tiger, right? Bright, with a shorter leader. Then all I do is take that clip and drop the plug on the floor. Take this clip, clip this guy in, like so. Let it out. Now I know I'm getting that down in open water, 15, 18 feet. Now when I'm doing this, I want to be using a willow leaf type blade or a smile blade because I don't want too much blade back here taken away from the action. You've got to tie it, just like when we get the steelhead in the next seminar, to the front hook. That's the axis of where it's working. If I go back here, it's going to pull the bill flat and it's not going to go anywhere. So you can make your own diver rig just like that and troll open water with harnesses. Simple. So those are your ways to get your harnesses down. This will be more of a summertime thing.
Do you actually tie straight to the bill when you pull that? Or
Yeah, you just I tie a Rapala loop knot right here.
You don't use a swivel or
No.
anything?
No. All my plugs I tie with Rapala loop knots.
Why do that?
What's that?
Why not have like just a snap swivel?
Just less stuff out there, concealed more. Everything, you look at all my cranks and stuff in the boat, I don't have a single D-ring or anything on them. What happens, to get on a quick sidebar, see that D-ring hanging from there? See how wide that is? The width of that split ring in there causes friction. When this bait swims, it swims like this. It's working like this. That split ring, being as wide as it is creating drag as it tries to swing within that loop. You run a 10-pound mono in there, it's a lot thinner profile than that, right? I can go slower speeds and still have the action. Gives me more control over the product, presentation. That's why I use Rapala loop knot. Allows things to swim at slower speeds. See, there's one of our old faithful. See that? No ring on there.
Again,
split ring or no split ring?
No split ring. None of my plugs have a split ring. There's less garbage on there, makes it more finesse presentation, more.
What about like on the, it's either the Ward or the Brad's, has the double loop, instead of a split ring?
Yeah, the D-ring looking one.
Yeah, it's got two loops.
Yeah, I cut them all off.
You cut 'em off.
There isn't a one on my boat that I use that has one. If you do this thing here, guys, you've got to use a double hook snap. You don't need the swivel on there, but you got to use a double hook snap. Just because it's so thin, when you go to jerk up on it and hit a fish, that'll cut your mono. So with the blades, you got to use, and most of them come with it, and if they don't, you know, you can pick them up. It's just a dual lock or snap.